All right, so Tulsa King episode 5 has come out, and the plot for it is pretty much this. While Dwight is in New York for his brother's funeral, he learns some unsettling news from Tulsa and the home front. All right, let's get into the good parts of this episode. And the first thing I'm going to say is that we get to see more of Dwight's family in this episode. We get to see his sister. We actually get to see the daughter in this episode. I think a couple of episodes ago, we had the phone interaction between them, but we didn't actually get to see Dwight's daughter. And in this episode, we hear about, Dwight's regret about not being there. And we clearly hear about Dwight's daughter not liking him, or I wouldn't say not liking him, but definitely just she is emotionally unavailable to him, and she's gotten used to not seeing her dad. But in this episode, Dwight's really trying to pull her back in. But once again, when you haven't been in your daughter's life for pretty much her entire life, what else could you expect? Also, Armand also gets into an interaction with one of the people at this ranch thing. And, he's pretty much, clowning the people that they beat the crap out of in the last episode. And, the woman says that, these people that you messed with, you probably don't want to continue doing that because they have a history of, doing some really, really bad things. And eventually Armand does, Google what these people did. And let's just say that, that woman was right. Also, Tyson gets arrested in this episode, or I wouldn't even say arrested, but, the police, take him captive for some reason. And once again, off rip, I knew that there was something off about the interaction because once again, like Tyson said, they literally didn't have a warrant on them. They had really no reason to take him. But once we figure out that, the biker gang people from last episode, a couple of them are actually working for the police. Like they are in the police system somehow, which raises the question about if they're in a police station, what other places in Tulsa are they a part of? Because clearly these people are not to be messed with. And once Dwight finds out about this, I'm assuming in next episode, how is he going to deal with it? Also, Dwight's brother dies in this episode. That's how the episode, starts. And although it's not really, it is the main part of the episode, but I was more invested in the other stuff because we just haven't had much time with Dwight's brother. But once again, I'm really liking the fact that this show is really hammering the point that although Dwight is this badass mobster guy, he still is a broken man. He's still an out of touch man. And it doesn't matter how cool or how much money he still has these issues that he has to deal with, which makes him feel like more of an actual character, or not even a character, but a human being. The final point that I'll say before I get into my overall thoughts and some criticisms is the end of this episode where Dwight finds out that his daughter was molested by, the people who he's supposed to call family. And I believe the character's name is Nico. And once Dwight finds that out, he, goes to, Peter, and he asks him if he knew about this, and Peter had no idea about what Dwight was talking about. So Peter luckily dodged, being buried 6 feet under, but Dwight goes straight to the man himself. And by the way, this scene kind of reminds me of, if you remember in The Sopranos where a certain character went up to Meadow and he says some, very inappropriate things. Stuff that you probably shouldn't be saying to a younger woman. And, Meadow tells Tony Soprano about what happened. And then Tony Soprano goes up to the man and then just starts beating the crap out of him and makes the man pretty much lose all of his teeth. That's pretty much what happened from this episode, and it was a hard watch because holy crap, this guy Dwight, he grabs this character and then burns him and then just starts beating the crap out of him and then steps on him, and then you just see blood. You don't see Dwight, step on the guy, but you just see the blood come out of the guy's skull, and holy crap, that was a brutal scene. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next episode. And overall, guys, Tulsa King episode 5 was really good. I actually don't have any criticisms for this episode, but I am going to go ahead and give my halfway score of this show, We still have 5 more episodes left. And overall, Tulsa King is a pretty surprising TV show. I didn't even know this show even existed until I just randomly found it. And I'm going to go ahead and give Tulsa King an 8 out of 10 so far. I think this is probably one of the best shows that have come out this year. It'll be interesting to see how it ends. Do you guys like this episode as much as I did? Let me know in the comments. And those are my thoughts on that.